kind of there's some people who complain about chicken hawks, people who were in favor of sending other people's kids off to war, but who themselves don't have kids who would ever consider joining the military. And so it's like I kind of understand that complaint against the so-called chicken hawks. This makes sense? All these
yeah.
Sort of a thread that's connecting all these. And there are other examples in the culture as well, but you find that phenomenon very much with liberals, who are privileged and don't have the worries that others do, and trifle with other people's responsibilities and worries, and then wear that fact as a badge of honor. It drives me crazy.
How important a role does gossip play in enforcing community norms?
Well, it's a two-edged sword, isn't it? I mean, on the one hand, you could say it keeps people honest because they're whatever they do, there's always a chance that it will get out and they'll be humiliated. At the same time, every time someone is caught doing something that they shouldn't, and it's broadcast, it lowers the shock value of the thing that's being reported about them. You know what I mean? Before, whatever it was so shocking that no one would even talk about it, and much less do it. And now, whatever it might be is being talked about all over the place, and people that, and it kind of, on the one hand, it might warn some people away, but other people, they might say, hey, look how many other people are doing it. And it's not so shocking anymore. So it's not so simple to say that it enforces community norms. It also undermines those norms. Just looking for.
Do you know who Jeffrey Peter Hart is?
No.
Emeritus professor of English. He was a senior editor at National Review. He wrote a book about 50 years of National Review. And he said...
Jeffrey Peter Hart?
Yeah, Jeffrey Hart.
Jeffrey Hart. Yeah, sure, of course.
He says, I confess to a fondness for gossip, which indeed is a conservative genre. Gossips do not want to change the world, they want to enjoy it.
I mean, it's a witty thing to say, but I don't agree with it. I don't see how it should could. They just, our religion, more than others, sees gossip as sort of a cheap way of creating community. And conservatism is about community, but it's about, I would say, creating community that in ways that are harder and more authentic and truer than gossip, which creates a simulacrum, a fake kind of a community that ultimately is not stable and therefore not conservative.
On Sunday, the New York Times public editor Clark Hoyt wrote a column telling the stories of people whose reputations were hurt by inadequate, faulty, or stories in the New York Times. And then Jack Schaefer, do you know who he is, writes for Slate?
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
Okay, Jack Schaefer wrote this in response. One of the flaws in Hoyt's thinking is his belief that one's reputation is a possession, like a car or a tennis racket, when one's reputation actually resides in the minds of others. A person can have as many reputations as people who know him. Posting that the top link in a Google search of a name equals somebody's reputation is silly. If Google users conclude that an individual is guilty of fondling a child just because a Times story reported his arrest, says more about their gullibility than it does about the inadequacies of the web or the Times.
That's totally naive. That's ridiculous. And it doesn't, that's, are you asking me to comment on that?
Yeah.
That's insane. I mean, somebody, you hear Dennis Prager, I think it was Dennis who was talking yesterday about, who's the guy in Atlanta who was
Richard Jewell?
Yeah, right. Who was ultimately, Dennis was saying, was murdered by the media. There's some truth to that. It doesn't matter that ultimately his name, the case was resolved in his favor. But my God, the man was totally innocent and made to suffer excruciating torment. And the people who did it to him are exempt. They're puncher. They're just doing their job. It was reported. He was suspected by the police, and so of course we do report it. Or Dennis also mentioned it was some congressman, and his the story. His wife divorced him, and in the divorce proceedings, she charged that he had tried to compel her to go to some kind of sex club. Do you remember the story?
Vaguely.
And it was reported in the Chicago Tribune, I think. And it's obviously humiliated him, and who knows what happened to his life, his career, and his family. But Dennis asked him, did anyone ever inquire about the divorce? Did anyone try to ever unseal the divorce proceedings of editors of the Chicago Tribune? No, we don't. So it's a journalist, because he's more or less anonymous, a newspaper journalist. It's just a name, and no one ever inquires who are these people. And so they can trifle with someone else's life in a way that they're completely exempt from. And there's something really wrong about that.
So you'd agree that you would say that the media murdered Richard Jewell?
I mean, that's probably an exaggeration, but they bear responsibility in the way that he was made to suffer. And I don't know the exact story. Might he have died at age 44 anyway from diabetes? I don't know. But they played certainly a role in making a man suffer greatly and unjustly. And
they accurately reported that law enforcement considered him a suspect for some time.
Yeah, but it turns out he wasn't. It turns out he was completely innocent.
And then they reported that.
There's some, I don't know what the solution would be. I guess just a greater sense of responsibility and discretion on the part of editors and reporters. But if you hold someone's life in your hands, and you're the editor and you're the reporter, and nothing's ever going to happen to you because you report this thing. You're just doing your job. Meanwhile, a person is destroyed, and turns out he was innocent. And turns out where there was smoke, there in fact was not fire.
Why would you say that you hold someone's life in their hands? Someone could, write that I was a child molester, and I would still feel that my life was in my hands. Why would you give the media that much power?
It does. And maybe the fact that you're a blogger and you're sort of kind of a lone ranger. You're not married. You don't have a family. You're not employed by someone else. You are invulnerable to being destroyed. And in fact, you report things on yourself, and in that posting you did in my book, which was very amusing, and you reported some. I think, if I recall, you linked to some nasty someone had written about you that wasn't true.
Right.
And for you, there's no cause to that. It's